That's why, like, when people say they want the cyborgs to be in the game, I'm like, I don't really think that would fit.
This was shot in front of a live studio audience.
For me, Ian, I would like the cyborgs to be in the game, but I kind of want the cyborgs not to be like I don't want it to be a sub faction. I don't want it to be an everyday trooper. I feel like in the like arc in my like head, my little head canon, okay? I like to think of the cyborgs, if there is any left, that they're like the oligarchs or like large political large political figures who are like held up to like the nth degree because they're like the descendants, or no, they're the like they're like the architects of the automaton empire, you know? So it would be like borderline impossible to see like a cyborg on the front lines unless you were doing like some assassination mission or some shit like that. That's why, like, when people say they want the cyborgs to be in the game, I'm like, I don't really think that would fit. You know, like, even if there is cyborgs in the game and they haven't fully like turned into automatons, which I think for the most part, if you're a cyborg living in that kind of like universe, you probably already are wanting to turn into like a full-on automaton. But let's say there is like for some reason there is like those cyborgs left. I feel like they would be held in such a high esteem in the empire of the automatons that there would be political figures or oligarchs or people who are just like not on the front lines, you know? Like I said, I wouldn't want it as a sub faction. I don't feel like that really matches the tone of how the empire, like how their empire is out. How did he die? Did you go in the hole? That's insane. He went straight into the hole. Assassination missions would be cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, it'd be cool if it was like there was an MO or a strategic opportunity that was like, hey, we need to invade this planet and liberate it because we have news of like damn, I missed, of a like automaton oligarch or political leader, a cyborg, and if we're able to capture him, we're able to like actually get a bunch of information on the automatons, since it'd be like killing it'd be like basically like a founding father of a nation being captured. Like, that'd be cool. And that's how basically I would think the cyborgs are treated in automaton culture. Like, I don't think they would be treated any other way. Like, at least that just makes sense to me. That's just how I view it. Like, I'm not saying they're as strong, but to put into perspective, okay? I would view the oligarchs as like that one council that's on Terra in 40k, who like, they're like basically like they're like the standing nobles or whatever that are on Terra. I forgot their name or what they are, but like they obviously don't see no war. They can't fight any battle. They're not even strong or anything, but they make all the decisions on Holy Terra for the entire Imperium. I think that's how I would want to treat the cyborgs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying that Final Frame. You probably agree with me, but yeah, I already know that. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that, like, since they're the descendants of cyborgs, that it wouldn't make sense that the automatons would be like, all right, let's put our founding fathers on the front line who can possibly die at any moment, you know? Like, they would probably be like, oh, they would like probably worship them, you know, the automatons. But then also there's like there's another way that, like, there's another thing that comes in my head about the cyborgs that I was talking about, where it's like, I genuinely feel like the cyborgs there wouldn't even be cyborgs left, in my opinion. Like, I don't know a lot about the lore of Helldivers 1, but from my understanding is that the cyborgs were miners who rebelled and then were like super like into enhancing their bodies and becoming robots, basically. Like, that was their shtick. They were like all about like chroming out, for my cyberpunk fans out there, alright? And so I feel like if you had a bunch of people, psychos, who are like obsessed about like becoming robots, and then you put them in an empire that's all about robots, I feel like they wouldn't stay cyborgs anymore. They would just full on become robots at that point. So like, let's say there is there's cyborgs left in that universe. I feel like even if they're left, they'd be an automaton right now. Like a high ranking automaton, but I don't think they'd be a cyborg anymore. Miners! Yeah, miners. Fucking retard. You know, does that make sense? Because like, you basically have those two things competing on why there won't be, in my opinion, why you shouldn't have cyborgs on the front lines. One, if they are left, they'd probably be oligarchs, high-ranking officials in the automaton community, and you know, they probably wouldn't want to have those founding father level people on the front lines, since they would basically worship them. And then on the second hand, I don't even think they'd be around because they probably just fully chrome out and become an automaton. Now that they have a community that is all about becoming a robot. Do you think we'll ever get a bot war bond? One, I think you'll see a bot war bond when Arrowhead is finally like, all right, we're ready for the march to Cyberstan. You know? I think right now we're in the part of the war where we're basically just the ebb and flow of the line of skirmish, where it goes a little deeper into the enemy territory and it goes a little deeper into our territory. And until Arrowhead is ready to start that story arc on the march to Cyberstan, I don't think you're going to be seeing I don't think you're going to be seeing any kind of automaton warbond until then. Well, I think while you're right, I think the more so the way it would be an automaton warbond and how I would do it personally is it would basically be like a scrappers kind of warbond. Like the armor looks like a makeshift of like people who have been on the automaton front line, and due to resource lines or supply lines being broken constantly and unreliable, that Helldivers on the front line have gotten to get creative and have like retrofitted or like not retrofitted, what is it? Kit bashed automaton rifles with sickles and sights to make this weird amalgamation of automaton and Helldiver tech. Armor can be a mixture of like armor plates scrapped from hulks that are put on the chest to make it to where like even though it's all scrappy and looking like shit, it's really good because it's like using high level tank armor from scrapped hulks or whatever. That's how I would envision it, and how it makes sense in the universe to me, is that it's not that they're marketing armor or anything, it's that these are basically like the kit bashed weapons and armor of like veterans on the front line.
Tagging map, south, 200 meters.
Which has already been a thing in the game before. With other things. Like, not to that extent with what I just said, but like basically that, you know, like there's a miniature story with each of the warbonds that get sold. So that's how I envision the warbond. Now, whether they do that or not, I don't know. But if you were to ask me what does a automaton warbond look like, that's how that looks like to me.